This is a modern classic survival island seed, a classic survival island that you're used to seeing, except instead of a beach it has stony shores. I found a lot of small islands for this video. My refined search conditions for Cubiomes Viewer are working really well, pretty much exactly the types of islands I've always been wanting to find in Minecraft, so I'm happy about that. That's a small modern classic survival island in a big ocean biome. I prefer to call these seeds an ocean village. The village doesn't generate on an island, it's just a village in the middle of an ocean. Personally, they're one of my favorite seed types to find. They just look really cool. The village has 14 total buildings, so it's pretty big. It has 2 masons and 2 armorers. Over in the distance, there's a frozen ocean. Pretty awesome ocean village seed. This is just a small forest island. But before looking at it, today's comment of the day is simply island. This comment used a comment of the day in a previous video. Use island in a comment and you may be featured in a future video. Nothing too crazy going on here at all, but it's a nice little island. Another small island seed. 2 different types of trees, just a solid island seed. This island seed generates with a forest biome, a beach biome, and a plains biome. Towards the south, there's a little miniature island with a shipwreck next to it. This looks pretty cool. The island is a decent size, 2 tree types, just a decent island seed. This Minecraft seed generates with twin islands at spawn. The islands are split with a stream of water between them. The spawn island has a bit of a small section of forest and then a bigger section of stony shores. The other island has a bigger section of forest and stony shores too. Just a really cool Minecraft seed with a lot of potential for builds, playing on with friends, or whatever you choose to use it for. Let me know which of the islands would you prefer to claim as yours. We spawn on a beach in this Minecraft seed. Right next to it is a sparse jungle, and then a bamboo jungle. Within the bamboo jungle is a jungle temple. Always like structure islands, 2 chests inside as usual. We also have this big cave opening on the island. It leads down to a lush cave and a mine shaft. A mine shaft exposed to the surface is really awesome. A lush cave mine shaft exposed to the surface is even better. Under this spot in the ocean, there's a trial chamber. It's actually a lush trial chamber too, so it looks pretty awesome. Having this under the spawn area is pretty awesome. Overall, this is a really cool jungle temple island seed. Cliff islands always look awesome. They're some of my favorite types of seeds to do searches for just because they look really cool. This one is a dark forest island. This side has some shorter cliffs as the stony peak shores go up progressively, as opposed to just steep cliffs. Every other side just has tall cliffs. We get pieces of lush cave on the cliffs. I like the look of the waterfall going down this cliffside. I like how this spot looks right here. Cliff island seeds are always just really cool. This island looks pretty cold. It's a snowy Taiga island surrounded by icebergs of a frozen ocean. With the snow on the island, it fits right in with the icy ocean. I had a bunch of polar bears around the area. Sometimes I find islands that are in frozen oceans and the biomes don't really fit in with the cold looking area, so this works really well. This seed is just a small Taiga island. It's all just Taiga biome except for this tiny offshoot of stony shore. There are a lot of trees. The island sticks out of the ocean about 9 blocks high. Nothing too crazy, but if you want a Taiga island, this is a decent option. This seed has a pretty big Savanna island. We get a village right in the middle of the island. It has 8 buildings and a couple stables. The island generates with some interesting terrain around the village and a hill on this side. On the northernmost side of the island, there's a shipwreck. I always like when shipwrecks generate on a beach. Makes it look like an actual shipwreck. Yeah, that's a Savanna Island village seed. This isn't a Minecraft seed I'm showing to necessarily play survival mode on. I'm more so just sharing it because it looks cool. We spawn on a little desert island with a pillager outpost. There's a bunch of cages, including an ally cage. There's a log collection, and there are some pumpkin scarecrow targets too. There's also a ruined portal on the island. Another structure in this location just makes it even more cool. But as I said, it's not really a seed you'll want to play survival on. Not too far away, there's an island village. It's a desert village, which doesn't help the cause for survival all too much, but it's probably the second place you'd want to go after a shipwreck. There's some cool terrain for such a small island village. Off in the distance, you can see a desert biome from here, which again isn't promising for survival on this seed. Just thought it was an interesting seed to share. This island here is a flower forest island. There's not really an overwhelming amount of flowers though. A lot of the island is flat right at water level. It has a lot of trees and this beach forms a hill. There's a little point in the terrain here going into the water. This side kind of gets squared off, and the island as a whole has a pretty interesting shape. That's a flower forest island. This Minecraft island generates near a frozen ocean. The icebergs provide a pretty cool backdrop to the island. The island is split between a forest and stony shores. I even had some copper ore and iron ore generating on the surface. This little spot looks pretty cool here. Pretty cool island with the icebergs right next to it. If you want a super tiny jungle island seed, I have one here for you. The island is split between the jungle biome that's filled with trees and the beach biome. The jungle has a bit of gravel too. Off in the distance at my 32 render distance, we can see a mushroom island. That's a super tiny jungle island seed. This is pretty much what I hope to find when I do searches for island seeds. Just a tiny island with some trees, some sand, a bit of gravel, and some grass for wheat. I even had a sheep spawn with the world. Just a tiny survival island is all it is. There's another island over there if you want to play with a friend. This is one of those islands that is still ocean biome on the surface, so you don't see it on the map. But yeah, this is just a small forest island seed. I'm going to call this a rock island. Not the rock as in Dwayne Johnson, but a rock as in stone. The majority of this island is just a stony shores biome sticking out of the ocean about 6 or 7 blocks high. On the eastern side of the island is just a small plains biome and a super tiny sparse jungle biome only like 3 blocks wide. That's why this little jungle tree generates here on Java Edition. On Bedrock Edition, there isn't any trees. All around the island is warm ocean with a few tiny islands popping up, a ruined portal, some ocean monuments, and a shipwreck in the distance. But yeah, that's a rock island seed. This is just a fairly big plains island seed. The island has a few trees, it has a pumpkin patch. I had sheep spawn along with other animals too. Over there, we have some icebergs with an ocean monument right in front. With the size of the island, there's some decent room to build. Maybe like a McDonald's or something. Pretty decent island seed. This seed generates a birch forest island at spawn. I know that birch wood is everyone's favorite. I think that it's kind of cool that along with the stony shores, the beach generates into the middle of the island. The shape of the island is pretty cool. There's a tiny island sticking out in the ocean over there, and a shipwreck sticking out over there with an ocean monument behind it. For a birch forest, this seed isn't too bad. This seed generates an island that is split between a forest and stony shores biome. It's a pretty decently sized island. There's a lot of space for a nice building. Off in the distance in my 32 render distance, there are some icebergs. Overall, a decent island seed. Let's take a classic survival island and change it up ever so slightly. We've got a beach here, and then this grass section is actually a sparse jungle, but the tree that generates is still an oak tree. There are a few scattered islands over there, but aside from that, we just have an ocean all around. So close to being a typical survival island, but that sparse jungle makes it a bit different. I was looking for tall woodland mansion on island cliffs, and instead I found this. The mansion has some height, but it isn't very tall. The island also has these mini cliffs, but not quite the type of cliff island I hope to find. This terrain though looks absolutely awesome. We get terrain on top of the mansion, we get little cliffs forming here, in this crazy looking terrain. And we get this narrow cliff forming down the corner of the mansion. This little spot near the entrance looks pretty cool too. So while not quite the cliff island mansion I was looking for, still a pretty cool Minecraft seed. What's better than one island village? 2 island villages. In this seed we spawn on this plains and stony shores island. The village generates right across the middle of it. The village has 7 buildings and a few farms. Northeast, there's another island village. This island is all plains biome. This one has 10 buildings and a few farms. A seed with 2 island villages so close to each other is just really awesome. This is a pretty interesting Minecraft seed. The spawn is on a small flat island with 1 tree. And then there's another tiny island next to it, just a couple of tiny islands in the middle of the ocean. You could play on this seed with a friend and see who expands their island quicker or something. I don't know, I just think it's cool seeing these 2 mini islands with nothing but ocean in sight. I loaded into this world looking directly at a cave. Walking into that cave showed me something I wasn't quite expecting, but I was happy to see. It's just a huge lush cave. And let me tell you, this is actually a lush cave island. It looks absolutely insane. A Stony Peaks biome divides two sections of bamboo jungle. Cliff islands just look awesome as they are, but when you add in a lush cave opening on the side, it gets even better. I mean, just look at how awesome this looks. Just absolutely incredible Minecraft world generation. I think the jungle trees being on the edge of the cliffs and in front of the cave opening adds some really awesome detail to the area. This is just a really awesome Minecraft seed. I finally found a classic one tree survival island seed for modern Minecraft Java Edition versions. Lately, every time I find a small island like this, it has multiple trees or no trees. For example, on Bedrock Edition, this island has multiple trees, which shows you what I keep finding on Java Edition too. This island isn't perfect, there's no grass for seeds for example. So my search for the classic survival island will continue, but this one is pretty great. The grass section is a forest biome, the stone section is windswept gravelly hills. The sugarcane next to the tree is convenient. There's an ocean monument in the distance and another one over there. And there's lots of kelp throughout the ocean. So this isn't the perfect survival island seed I've been looking for, but it's pretty close. The search will continue, but in the meantime, if you want to see more survival island seeds, click the video on the left. If you're looking for some of my favorite 1.21 Minecraft seeds, click the video on the right. I'm out of here, see ya.